start the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
Well, I got a really good one for you guys today. Unfortunately, there was somebody that actually thought it was the bright idea to sit there and clip somebody that makes my type of content, take me out of context, and tries to pretend like I got owned in something when I did it. I'm just going to let you know, you are a special kind of something if you thought that was a good idea. Because I am not like Player Essence. I won't whine and cry about it. Don't you worry. I'm not going to freak out on you. I'm not going to call you names like he likes to do. I am just literally going to turn you into content, and I'm going to expose you for the fraud that you are. So here. Now, before I sit here and play this clip, you also need to understand that during the debate that I was in, I was hearing this horrible echo reverb in my headset, and I could not hear worth anything. It was terrible, and all that is on me, the host, and Shadow. We did not come prepared for to have everything set up. We had technical issues that were so bad. We honestly should have canceled it and just rescheduled for a later date, but we all decided to push on through, and unfortunately, the debate was really bad because of the technical issues. If we didn't have all those technical issues, the debate would have been far better than what it was. But here, let me show you what I'm referring to so no one tries to say, oh, he's lying, oh, he's a fraud. Here, I will show you.
Shadow volumes? What are we talking about that needs to happen to make Mario Kart World hear more?
All right, so now you can see I was telling the truth. I'm going to sit here and play a 1-minute clip from Player Essence stream because some Nintendo fanboy decided to clip me out of context, try to claim that, he got me as a gotcha moment and exposed me. Now that I put the context in, you will understand it. So here it is.
Why did Nintendo create the game key cards then? If it's not for third party, why did they create them? And why isn't Nintendo publishing any games on game key cards if that's the case? That would be my counterpoint to that.
Well, my guess is the reason why Nintendo created those game key cards was to try to appeal to a lot of those third-party people. But it doesn't matter if Nintendo uses a game key card or not, or puts it on the 64 gig. That's the bare minimum for Nintendo to put their own game on a physical cartridge. So I'm not going to applaud Nintendo for doing the bare minimum.
That's understandable. But what you just did though was concede my point. If they did it to appeal to third parties, why are they doing it to appeal to third parties? And I think you kind of know where this is going.
I can barely understand what you just said.
Why didn't Nintendo create game key cards to appeal to third parties? No.
Like I said, it's a pointless thing once again. And
so as you can see, it tries to make it seem like, oh, I was owned. Now, this isn't Player Essence's fault technically, because he's not the one that clipped it. Someone sent it to him, but he's been on YouTube long enough, and at his middle age, he knows better than to trust that kind of source. He always sits there and says like, oh, well, I'm a fact-based, logical, news-based channel, but doesn't sit here and follow one of the biggest rules when it comes to being a journalist or a news type person, is you always verify your facts and sources, and he did not do that. So here's about a 5 to 7 minute clip of the actual debate, what it actually has something to do with, and I'm not going to clip in between. I'm going to let it play. I'm obviously not going to show the whole debate because that's a very long debate. I'm not even going to show the whole portion of the topic because that's a very long topic to have. But I will sit here and do about a 5 to 7 minutes so it can show the entirety of what happened, and I will leave that decision up to you. If I was cooked or if I wasn't, or I had some good points, if Shadow had some good points, I will leave it up to you. Well, I believe that both are at fault technically, but ultimately it depends on the situation. When you have companies like, we'll use Bravely Default and Tetris, when they have such a small game like that, and the only option is a 64 gigabyte cartridge and then the game key card, then ultimately that's Nintendo's fault, because Nintendo should give them more options of what sizes of cartridges. Now, if a company's coming out with like a 50 or 60 gig and they choose to put it on a game key card, that is ultimately the third party's fault. But also, I believe if people are going to go after the third party, they should also keep the same energy for Nintendo when they're the ones that created those game key cards in the first place. I passed my turn.
All right, so with regards to that, the very first thing is we still have not confirmed whether or not that there are only 64 gig cards available. I know that, yeah, I've opened my Mario Kart World cartridge too, and it for whatever reason, that game that's 20 to 30 gigs or whatever is on a 64 gig card. Still don't know what's going on with that. Not sure if that's a thing or not, or that confirms whether or not there's only a 64 gig card, or there may just not be a 32 gig one. There's no way to really know. In addition to that, I would say if we're going to pass the buck to Nintendo, the question is, why did Nintendo create the game key cards then? If it's not for third party, why did they create them, and why isn't Nintendo publishing any games on game key cards if that's the case? That would be my counterpoint to that.
Well, my guess is the reason why Nintendo created those game key cards was to try to appeal to a lot of those third-party people. But it doesn't matter if Nintendo uses a game key card or not, or puts it on the 64 gig. That's the bare minimum for Nintendo to put their own game on a physical cartridge. So I'm not going to applaud Nintendo for doing the bare minimum.
That's understandable, but what you just did though was concede my point. If they did it to appeal to third parties, why are they doing it to appeal to third parties? And I think you kind of know where this is going.
I can barely understand what you just said.
Why did Nintendo create game key cards to appeal to third parties?
I already said that they gave it to them to try to make them happy, but they didn't have to. They could have said no.
Why would that make them happy? Let's continue.
Oh, because the third parties want to be cheap and put them on those game key cards.
Boom. So here we
Okay.
sit. This is the origin of the problem. Right? So Nintendo is at fault for a problem that originates with who?
Say
I
again?
just want everybody to say it out loud if they can. It's third party.
I can
Nintendo
barely
didn't create this
understand what you
problem.
just said.
Nintendo did not create the problem. Sandstorm, you can repeat it for me again.
Nintendo did not create the problem. It was third party that created the problem.
Well, technically, Nintendo created the problem because they're the ones that create. Regardless whether the third party wanted them or not, Nintendo had the ultimate say when it came to those game key cards. They could have said no. I passed my turn.
With the game key cards being there, right? One game is Street Fighter 6. That game could fit on a 64 gig cartridge. So I don't really think it's about the availability of the sizes.
Okay,
Capcom
with
is a
Street
big
Fighter 6,
third-party
that is
publisher.
ultimately Capcom's fault. They could have put the base game on that 64 gig cartridge and then did some type of code or something for the season passes. They obviously couldn't put both season passes and the base game on the cartridge itself. It's too big. But no, that in that situation, yes. But if you look at like Bravely Default, that situation is ultimately Nintendo's fault because they didn't give an option for a different size cartridge. And also, you got to look at the Tetris one on top of that because that game has such a small data too. They don't need a 64 gigabyte cartridge for those.
I feel like I need to rebut that point again because you're stating that as if it's fact. We do not know if Nintendo only has a 64 gigabyte cartridge. He reiterated that twice as if it was fact. We do not know that.
There you go. See, when you watch the whole thing, it paints a whole different story. I will give Shadow one thing. He is very good at talking. He is very logical. But unfortunately, he was out of his depth when it came to this topic. I don't think he knew what he was talking about. My opinion came from actual facts and evidence. That is a fact that there is a 64 gig cartridge. It is a fact that there are game key cards. It's on the box. He even says in the thing that he took apart his Mario Kart World cartridge and it was on a 64 gig cartridge. Many people have said that. CD Projekt Red themselves have came out and said and called it a 64 gig cartridge. So at this moment, the only facts and evidence is there are only 2 cartridges at this moment. So I'm gonna base my opinion upon the evidence at hand. That's how that works. I'm not going to change my opinion for a what if scenario. And I'm not going to sit here and prove a negative like he wanted me to. Now, I will sit there and leak Player Essence video so you guys can go see the entirety in case you think I'm trying to clip that part out of context, which I don't see how you can. And I will sit here, link the whole debate in there so you guys can see it also. Also, in the live stream, there was a person named Flipping the Switch. I know who he is. He was in there. Listen, man, no hate towards you. If you watched the last video and think that I'm hating on you, I don't hate you, Flipping the Switch. I'll even tag you down below, hoping that you see this part. But I don't hate you. Far from it. I got nothing against you. The unfortunate part is you're keeping terrible company around with you. And when you associate yourself a vile, low-life piece of crap like Player Essence, you're gonna unfortunately get caught in the crossfire. And also to that Nintendo fanboy, because I know who it was. I saw your handle. I'm not gonna sit here and throw your handle out there because I don't want to see you get any hate, but I know who you are, and I know you're a huge Nintendo fan, so you ain't nothing but a Nintendo fanboy. But there is a woman in that Nintendo community. She doesn't really do anything on YouTube, at least I don't think she does, but she has an amazing saying, and I'm going to take it from a fan favorite like Joycey J. Stupid is a choice. Remember that, folks. And now it's time to read off the members of the channel. We got Brian Payne, Oh No Is Justin, Watari, Shad3 Milkman, MadFox94, Maximilian Pegasus 88, and Koros Objective. Thank you guys so much for becoming members. And if you truly enjoy this content, why don't you think about becoming a member? It's only $1 a month. You get special kind of badges, you get special kind of emotes, and at the end of all my videos, I will sit here and shout out all my members until it becomes too long, and then it'll be turned into a credit roll. So that's going to be it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're hard.